Most people think fear is just part of life, something you manage with routines, distractions, or willpower. But here's the truth. Fear isn't meant to be managed, it's meant to be defeated. And Psalm 27 doesn't offer a suggestion. It delivers a bold declaration that shifts everything. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? That's not poetic comfort. It's a strategy for victory in unseen battles. Think about it. What if anxiety showing up in the morning wasn't a sign you're weak, but proof you're stepping into spiritual elevation? What if waiting on God wasn't wasted time, but the strongest act of courage in fear? These aren't religious cliches. They're divine perspectives that flip the script of how life really works. The reward? Spiritual peace that carries you through the noise, healing that reaches wounds no one sees, and a confidence rooted in the presence of God. And I want you to lean in because as you hear each truth from Psalm 27, I dare you to comment which part shakes you the most. Was it the light in darkness, the strength in adversity, or the promise that you'll never be abandoned? Your voice might be the confirmation someone else is waiting for. The moment the alarm rings, fear is often quicker than the sun. Before the coffee brews, before the phone buzzes, the mind can already be racing through unseen battles. But Psalm 27 whispers a reminder. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? That's not poetry. That's divine protection. It's like flipping a switch in a dark room. The shadows don't argue, they just vanish in the presence of God's light and darkness. Think of a child walking down a hallway at night, clutching a flashlight. The hallway is the same. The furniture hasn't moved, yet the fear disappears because of one thing: the light. That's what divine confidence does when trust in God fills the heart. Suddenly, the same pressures, the same deadlines, the same noise of the world lose their bite. The fear may knock, but it doesn't get to sit at the table. And here's the key. Starting with God's presence changes not just mornings, but everything that follows. A person grounded in faith over fear walks differently, calmer, steadier, braver. They face emotional healing because divine perspective breaks the illusion that darkness wins. And the best part? This first step opens the door to something even deeper, a spiritual peace that holds steady even when the world outside begins to roar. There are mornings when it feels like the world has declared war on your soul. The emails pile up, the deadlines press in, and the opinions of others weigh heavy. Yet Psalm 27 says, though an army besiege me, my heart will not fear. That's not human logic, that's supernatural peace. God's presence doesn't remove the noise, it silences its authority. In the middle of chaos, divine protection creates a holy calm.
Picture someone in the middle of rush hour traffic. Cars honking, people shouting, horns blaring, and yet, inside their own car, windows up, music playing softly, there's peace. That's what happens when trust in God shields the heart. The outside may rage, but inside there's a worship lifestyle. This is courage in fear, the ability to stand steady, not because the storm is gone, but because God is present in the storm. And this peace becomes a spiritual elevation, a higher ground that stress can't reach. It's not denial of the battle, it's a declaration that unseen battles don't get the last word. When faith over fear becomes the anchor, the soul breathes again. The world may push harder, but the heart, rooted in God's promises, finds a rhythm of rest that can't be stolen. And with that rest, the desire for something deeper begins to rise. When most people pray, they often ask for things: help with bills, protection from harm, or success in their plans. But Psalm 27 shows something different. David, A man who could have asked for kingdoms or victory chose this. One thing I ask from the Lord, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life. That's not religion, that's spiritual intimacy. It's the hunger for God's presence above everything else. Think about it. A person can have money in the bank, friends around, even accomplishments on the wall, but still feel empty at night. Why? Because nothing replaces God's unconditional love. When the heart learns to desire Him more than blessings, emotional healing starts to flow. Trust in God becomes more than a phrase. It becomes the lifestyle that fills the soul with divine confidence and peace in a restless world. This desire isn't about escaping reality, it's about transforming it. To dwell with Him daily means to carry His presence into work, into family moments, into unseen battles. It turns faith over fear into second nature. It makes every room a sanctuary, every moment a chance for worship. And once the soul tastes this closeness, it begins to realize there is even more. Higher places God wants to lift us when adversity strikes. When trouble shows up, the instinct is usually to run, but Psalm 27 says something radical. In the day of trouble, He will keep me safe. He will set me high upon a rock. God doesn't hide His children so they can escape. He hides them so they can rise. That's divine perspective, lifting a person above the noise, above the panic, above the fear. What once felt like defeat now looks like preparation for strength in adversity. It's like climbing a mountain trail. From the bottom, the path looks tangled, confusing, even dangerous. But once you reach higher ground, everything changes. The same valley looks smaller, the dangers less threatening. That's what spiritual elevation feels like when trust in God takes over. The problems don't disappear, but courage in fear grows because the soul sees from God's angle, not the enemy's.
And here's the shift. God's presence isn't about hiding in caves, but about giving vision from the rock. It's a call to rise, to breathe in spiritual peace that fear can't touch. Every trial becomes a platform for growth, every unseen battle a training ground for holy confidence. And just when the soul learns this new vision, another truth steps in. That even if people walk away, God's unconditional love never does. There are days when loneliness feels heavier than any burden. Even those who love deeply may seem distant, too busy, or simply unable to understand. But Psalm 27 reminds us, though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me. That's not just comfort. It's divine protection against the wounds of rejection. It's God's unconditional love stepping in when human love fails. Think of a child waiting after school, watching every car that passes, hoping their parent will show up. The panic rises, the fear whispers, maybe they forgot. But suddenly, the parent arrives, arms wide open. That relief, that's what God's presence feels like, when trust in God fills the gap others leave. Emotional healing happens because He doesn't just see you, He embraces you. He calls you chosen, accepted, and loved. And this reality creates courage and fear that no betrayal can erase. A worship lifestyle grows from knowing you're never abandoned, never unseen, never unwanted. Every unseen battle of insecurity becomes an opportunity for holy confidence. And just when the heart settles into this assurance, Psalm 27 points us to one more treasure, the call to wait on God, not as weakness, but as the strongest act of faith. Waiting feels like the hardest command. In a world that celebrates speed, achievement, and instant results, waiting looks like weakness. Yet Psalm 27 closes with this: wait for the Lord, be strong, and take heart, and wait for the Lord. This isn't about sitting still. It's strength in adversity.
It's choosing faith over fear when silence seems louder than answers. It's trust in God working behind the curtain when nothing on stage has changed. Picture a seed in the soil. To the eye, it looks like nothing is happening, just dirt, silence, waiting. But underground, roots are forming, foundations are strengthening, life is preparing to break through. That's the divine perspective of waiting on God. What looks like delay is construction. What feels like stillness is movement in disguise. Worship becomes the water, trust becomes the sunlight, and suddenly, growth bursts forth.
And here's the beauty. Waiting is not wasted time. It's divine protection against running into less than God's best. It's a spiritual elevation where patience becomes power. Every unseen battle in the delay becomes training for holy confidence. The one who waits doesn't miss out. They're prepared to step into God's promises at the right time. And once that moment comes, the soul sees clearly. This journey was never about rushing, but about learning to rest in God's presence. So here's the challenge. Will you keep letting fear write the script of your days? Or will you let Psalm 27 reshape the way you live? God's promises aren't distant hopes. They're present realities waiting to be claimed. Light in darkness, strength in adversity, spiritual peace in the middle of chaos. These are not for someday, they're for now. What if you began living as if you truly believed that God's presence never leaves you? How different would your mornings look? How much courage would rise when battles press in? The answers to those questions will define whether you live stuck in fear or lifted by divine confidence. Don't just watch and move on. Take this seriously. Comment your biggest takeaway. Share this truth with someone who needs it, and make sure you subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell. Because this isn't just another message. It's an invitation to live differently, starting today.